Alright, Chapter 7, the Workmanship Requirements. General, the section contained the minimum requirement of the workmanship directive for the benefit and ensure the sound wall joints. Cleaning prior with the and during weld of the joint member to be welded, include the base metal surface should be clean with the remove of the foreign material forward with a minimum of 1 inch for the weld of the edge. Middle scale of the metal oxide shall be removed with the surface of which the metal will be deposited. The slag shall be removed from all the metal for the prior to depositing subsequent passes of the layers upon the completion of the weld. For the S810H material, the wire brushing shall be accomplished using stainless steel brushes which have not been used. The alloys are other stainless steel. Seal welding are having the threaded connection 3 threads and seal weld inspection area threaded connection shall be removed prior to the welding and subsequent inspection. Titanium preparation. Minimum all contaminants shall be removed with the welded joint surface to be welded over the adjacent 1 inch of the material prior to the weld. The welded joint surface shall also be free discolorization preparation. Surface shall not be deposited with iron or other deleterious contamination that are not subsequently removed with the base metal surface unless otherwise approved with the Navsea system command. The following shall be performed as a minimum prior to welding. Forge and cast surface heated treated in air which will be welded over all shall require the minimum of 1/32 inch metal removal. Welded joint should be prepared with a machining carbide ceramic tool. If the high-speed tool of tooling is used, the welded joint surfaces shall be dressed in carbide burrs to remove any unembedded steel and particle of the welded joint surfaces prepared in shearing, sawing, such a shaw shall be dressed with the carbide burr to remove all surface markings from the cutting operation. C1131, cleaning of the thermal cut surface. The final surface shall be brushed with a stainless steel wire brush and then wiped along with a 1 inch adjacent material with a solvent. Titanium inner pass cleaning. When requiring the discolorization shall be removed the burring and the filling of the type of the operation except for the S53 material. Straw color may be removed in stainless steel wire brushing. So discolorization of the welded bead occur. The cause should be determined and corrected prior to the further welding. Where cleaning and effective removal of the type of the operations of the welded beads and titanium materials are performed, required 772 shall be met. Alright, 7-3, peening of the weld. Welders should be peened to help control the distortion, relief, strength, and improve the weld quality. When peening is performed on weld layer, subject to the non-stroke evaluation, all visual evidence and peening of the smeared metal shall be removed. The peening of the first of the last layer of the pipe weld shall not be performed. Peening shall be performed using a round and blunt nose tool, circular with an oblong cross section. Welding should not be over peened, causing flaking lapse for the reducing the cross section adjacent to the base metal surface. The slag inclusion, cracks, porosity, and other weld defects shall be removed prior to peening. Welds S1 and S52 materials shall only be peening used. Navsea system command approved. Receive the equipment of peening with a weld of the S53 material shall be not permitted, but welds shall be used as follows. The weld shall complete with the penetration required with the full length of the undercutting, overlapping sharp ridge, deep valley. Surface conditions shall be avoided. The reinforcement need not to be removed except for the required to meet the reinforcement requirements. When non-removable backing strip the strips are not considered to be welded. The reinforcement before applied with the joint. Applying of the weld metal with the reverse side of the double weld. The joint with the joint shall be prepared with the welding and chip with the grinding with the machining, air arc, gouging removed with all sound metal welded metal except as permitted. Section 9, proper contouring of the cleaning shall be achieved as preparation of the sound reverse root welding. 93211. Thermal cut surfaces. Thermal cut surfaces of the welding shall meet with the acceptance standards 11.3 and sample 2 better for the AWSC 4.1G and S10H material. Thermal cut edges should be ground with the machine to bright material prior to the welding. Alignment of joint members. Joint should be fitted with alignment with the position. Tack weld mechanical devices may be to retain the alignment during the weld. The tack weld should be removed in suitable methods so that they do not become part of the welded joint unless they are made for using an approved welding procedure to meet the requirements of 1038. Alright, 7-7, the repair is well defective defined here and unacceptable and detectable visual inspection. Other than unobstructed half of them shall be removed. The repaired only with the extent of the necessary to brim of the area with acceptable all visual evidence of the arc strike of the weld of the material heat material production shall be removed with the grinding and repaired if necessary to meet with the minimum thickness requirement. The arc strike will reduce the metal thickness below the minimum density requirement of the shall be repaired welded. Discolorization of metal surface due to the magnetic particle inspection should be disregarded if the excavation resulted in the effect of the removal shall not require repair welding unless the depth extent of the excavation exceeded the allowable depth extent of the acceptable welder undercut allowed with the military standard 2035 for the class of the welding unless any of the portion of the excavation reduced the remaining metal thickness below the minimum design thickness for part of the weldment. Excavation for the not requiring repair welding should be blended smoothly gradually with adjacent welded metal. The base material that shall not require the repair welding should be magnetic and particle test examined if the magnetic and particle test inspection is requirement for the class of the welding. 77111 for all arc strips that occurred after the final heat treatment of the S1 material with a carbon content greater than 0.3% of the S3, S3A, S4, S5, and S6, X6A. Materials complete removal of the heat affected zone shall be verified with an etchment with either demonstrated that discloses the heat affected zone structure of the material involved with either unless the repair welding is required. Etchants shall be prepared in accordance with the good metallurgic practices. Excavation requiring repair welding shall be magnetic particles examined visually. Examine the I5 magnification prior to the repair weld. The magnetic particle inspection requirement of the class of the welding. Excavation requiring repair welding shall be welded to only the extent of the necessary to reach the minimum design thickness to the achieve conditional equivalent acceptable depth of the extent of the weld of the undercut repair weld. The excavation, if required, shall be inspected for the same non-destructive test of the original weld. Simple of the weld where excavation is previously except the radiograph. The ultrasonic test weld that does not exceed 3/16 of the inch or 20% of the base metal material thickness, whichever is the level of the repair of the may be magnetic particle. Inspect with the radiographic testing, the ultrasonic testing, the total thickness of the repair weld pipe plus base material shall be used determining approved acceptable clearance section 13281 for the additional requirements of the S51, F52, and F53 materials. Alright, 7H. Marking of the weld of the indefinite process and purpose of the test may be required with applying mapping of the joint of the record, keeping the establishing responsibility for the workmanship the quality of the weld should be done with preferably with the electrode etch with the pencil with the vibro tool method, which is necessary to retain identification mark of the electrode etch pencil with the vibro tool method is inadequate due to the application of the paint of the other coatings, which may tend to obliterate the such marking. The low stress round bottom impression staining method may be used in lieu of the vibratory electro etch methods, which is stamping methods used. The impression should be placed in thicker joint members, such as the fitting of the piping system for the low stress surface. The other class of the welding piping tubing should not be stamped. Maximum allowable depth of impression shall be less than 1/100 of an inch, and the impression tool shall be in accordance with the following requirements. Character size 1/16, 5,000 of an inch, 3/32, 16,000 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch, 7,000 of an inch. 3/16, 8,000 of an inch, and 1/4, 1/10,000 of an inch. A depth of the impression should not reduce material thickness below the minimum thickness required of the design. Marking should be located not interfere with the interpretation of the radiograph. Alright, defective removal. Defects whether the weld of the base metal may be removed with the grinding machine or the filling of the cleaning tool. The removal of the process shall not be deposited with iron, lead, or other deleterious contaminants on the surface of the corrosion-resistant material for titanium alloy. See figure 722. If the weld repair is not required to meet minimum thickness specification, excavation shall be blended smoothly with the adjacent material, titanium and titanium alloy. Welds, thermal gouging, thermal mallet method should be not employed with the back gouging, defective removal, and process color inspection. Each weld passing through the back side of the two sides of the weld should be inspected with the color and deposited with the condition before brushing and cleaning. Shall meet the criteria of the table 11. See note 5. The result should be recorded with the words required and table required by 413 note 2. But the inspection may be performed with the production personnel with the training periodically audited to ensure proficiency in accordance with the program approved of the activity military standard 271 test examiner. Alright, 8. Post-weld heat treatment.